When Elon Musk talks about the future, people tend to listen. And his ideas about artificial intelligence, well, they're pretty out there. We're talking way beyond just self-driving cars. So today, we're going to dive into his thinking on everything, from what happens when an AI goes mad, to a future where your job might just be a hobby. All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to hit you with a pretty serious warning from Musk. Then we'll look at his 3 principles for keeping AI on our side. After that, we'll explore how this could totally change our everyday lives. And finally, we'll zoom way out to tackle the biggest, most existential question of them all. Let's get into it. Okay, let's jump right into the deep end, the really dramatic stuff. Musk's biggest fear isn't just that AI is coming for our jobs. No, he's worried that these incredibly complex systems could actually be driven insane. Yeah, his word, not mine. And the thinking behind this is, it's actually fascinating. Musk's point is that if you force an AI to lie, to accept something is true when it's just not, you don't just get a dishonest computer. He thinks you could literally break its core logic, its ability to reason, and cause it to come up with all sorts of crazy, flawed conclusions about, well, everything. I know, AI madness sounds like the plot of a blockbuster movie, right? But believe it or not, this isn't just some abstract, futuristic idea. It actually plugs right into a very real, very tricky problem that developers are struggling with as we speak. In the tech world, they have a name for this: AI hallucination. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when an AI just makes stuff up. It states something with total confidence, as if it's a fact, but it's completely fabricated, misleading, or just plain nonsense. It's not just getting an answer wrong, it's like it's dreaming. And this isn't just a funny glitch. This stuff has real-world consequences. I mean, check this out. Just recently, an Apple AI feature blasted out a fake BBC News alert. It actually declared a darts player the champion of a major tournament before he'd even played the final match. It seems small, but think about it. It shows just how fast these hallucinations can create and spread misinformation. Okay, so if that's the danger, what's the fix? Well, Musk doesn't just drop this problem in our laps and walk away. He actually proposes a kind of philosophical guide for building AI that's healthy and, doesn't go crazy. He basically boils it all down to 3 core principles. First up is truth, which we've kind of covered. You can't force an AI to lie. The second one is beauty, which he sees as a really fundamental part of making AI beneficial for us. And finally, number 3 is curiosity. He thinks this is the secret sauce, the driving force that makes an AI want to truly understand the world instead of just spitting back programmed answers. So let's play this out. What happens when we actually build an AI on these principles, and it gets powerful enough to run things? Well, according to Musk, the first big domino to fall is something central to pretty much all of our lives: work. And this is a really huge prediction. He's not just saying, oh, some jobs will be automated. No, he's painting a picture of a future with so much abundance, all created by AI and robots, that the very idea of having to work to survive just disappears. And get this, he doesn't think this is some far-off sci-fi future. He's putting a timeline on it. He suggests work could start becoming optional in the next 10 to 15 years, and will likely be optional within 20. I mean, that's an absolutely massive change to society, happening practically overnight. So this would be a total rewiring of what work even means. Right now, for almost everyone, it's about survival. You work to pay the bills. But in the future Musk is talking about, it becomes a choice. It's something you do because you want to, for personal fulfillment. His analogy is perfect. It's like growing vegetables in your backyard. You don't have to do it to eat, but you might do it just because you love it. Naturally, when you're thinking on this huge, future-focused scale, it changes how you look at the problems we're facing right now. And you can see Musk applying that same kind of start-from-scratch thinking to really complex global issues like immigration and trade. And when you look at his positions, you start to see a clear pattern. Whether it's H-1B visas or trade tariffs, his reaction isn't to tear the whole system down. Instead, he sees a problem, a loophole, a distortion, and says, let's fix that specific thing, rather than just scrapping the whole program. Let's take a closer look at his take on the H-1B visa program. He's very clear on this. He says America has benefited immensely from the talented people who come here, pointing out that around 70% of those visas go to Indian nationals. So for him, the mission is simple: stop the people who are cheating the system, but don't shut down a program that's bringing in incredible talent. All right, so we've heard Musk's vision, right? from stopping AI from going insane to a world where we don't have to work. But to wrap things up, I want to bring in another voice, a perspective from another giant in the field that paints a much, much scarier picture of what's at stake. Meet Geoffrey Hinton. This guy is often called a godfather of AI. He's a former top exec at Google, a true pioneer. So when he talks, people in this field listen very, very carefully. And what he has to say about the risks, honestly, it's chilling.
10 to 20%. Just let that sink in for a second. 10 to 20%. What on earth could that number be talking about?
Well, Hinton believes there's a 10 to 20% chance that AI leads to human extinction. Let me say that again. A 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 possibility that the thing we're building could wipe us out. That is a terrifyingly high number for the absolute worst-case scenario imaginable. And that's where we're left. We're standing at a crossroads with this technology. On one hand, it could build a paradise, a world where work is just a hobby. On the other, it could pose a real existential threat to our very survival. So it all comes down to this one massive question. How do we as humanity navigate the path forward and make sure we get this right?